All right, this is lab 6-1. Um, I've already created the user supplier match workbook within the OneDrive, and I went ahead and opened it within the app. Um, so we're gonna want to rename the first sheet to users, enter. Then we're gonna add another sheet and rename that suppliers. Okay. Now for the next step, we want to uh, pull in the data from the OneDrive. Um, I don't have my OneDrive, uh, at least the OneDrive for my UNT email set up to my uh, computer. And so I think I'm just going to drag in the data. So I'll be right back once I have imported all that data. Okay, so I went ahead and got all the data from the OneDrive. What's that? Yeah. So I had each of them opened, and then I just copied and pasted the data as the textbook suggested into the app version of Excel, but still within that user supplies match uh, workbook. So I'm gonna keep on going and working on the Excel, and then after that I'll be moving on to IDEA. Okay. So we want to go to the suppliers tab and go to column L. Make sure. Okay, so now I'm gonna format these as tables, so it's easier to work through or with. What is that? Format as table, like this one. I'm going to use this one. Sure, does not matter. And then for have to select the data, format as table, select a format. Okay. So we want to be on the suppliers tab, and we're gonna go to the L column called supplier physical street address. So what we need to do is to filter, um, go to text filters and then hit equals. And on here, we're gonna want to change this equals to contains. There you go. And we're gonna type in box. And so I have 3 results. Box 4225, 4225, and 3539. Okay. So I kind of want to go over question 1 and 2 of part 1 really quick. Given what you know about the vendor addresses, what types of addresses would be most suspicious? I'd say something like an address where maybe there isn't an address, like a vendor doesn't have an address associated with that vendor, or maybe uh, the address is the same as the employer's, or um, something along those lines. That would probably make those type of address that would like raise a flag. How could a vendor be added to an enterprise system with a suspicious address? That would probably have to do with only one person being in charge of adding vendor information, and so they just um, add vendors with suspicious addresses just because they can, and no one's going to stop them. There aren't any controls in place that'll prevent vendors with suspicious addresses to be added to a enterprise system. Yeah, that's question 1 and 2. And one thing I didn't touch on was PO boxes. PO boxes could also be associated with fraud or suspicious activity just because they don't have an actual address to a business or possibly a home. I mean, if it's a vendor, it shouldn't be a home address, but you know, a PO box would keep it more anonymous for investigative purposes. And so what we want to do now is add another sheet. Let me go ahead and clear this filter first. Clear, and rename this fuzzy match. All right, hit enter. So we're gonna go to fuzzy lookup, click on fuzzy lookup. And for table 1, or the left table, I guess we're gonna have to use users and suppliers table, but I have not named them yet. And so let me do that really quick. All right, I went ahead and named the users table users and suppliers table suppliers, so it's easier to work with. So we're gonna want users on the left and suppliers on the right, like that. Try to expand this because I can't really see what this says. So for the left table, we want the user physical street address column and useful street. I think it should be this one. Well, there's quite a few. It should be the first one. Okay, and then for the suppliers table, we want supplier physical street address 1. And again, it should be the first one. And we're going to want to join them. Now we have the match columns filled in. All right, we also want another, I guess, relationship, or I guess what it's called. We're going to want user physical street zip postcode, and then supplier physical street zip. I believe it's this one, should be the last one, so hopefully it works. I have both of these. I have A1 selected, so I can go ahead and select go. And now I just need to extend these. Quite a bit of information. Okay. Go down all the way to AB. Oh, AB will be our fuzzy match column. So let me go ahead and make this a table. Format as table. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to similarity and delete all the zeros. And these are the results to what we really want to pay attention to. Okay, so here we were similarities in the address and in the zip code from the supplier and the user tables. And what this basically means is 74% or 75% similar, 50% similar, and 70% similar. So these are definitely worth looking at. So this is lab 6-1 portion of the lab 6-1 Excel portion. And now we will be moving on to the idea portion. All right, now we are on idea. I went ahead and saved these documents using the VMware. So now what we want to do is go to home, select external projects, click on these dots right there, documents, and find our file. And this is the folder we need. And I think just go ahead, OK, and then hit OK. And give it a sec to load. It might be already in here. Okay. So what we want is to use the supplier listing table. So kind of like what we did in Excel, we're gonna want to look for search for box or PO boxes. So we want to go to data and then search. And then here we just type in box. We have to select supplier physical street address 1. I think it's this one, hopefully. And then should be able to hit OK, but it's not letting me. Okay, so I have to click within the box. There we go. Oh, and I have to. All right, and go ahead and hit OK. And we have 3 results down here in our, let me make this bigger. Oh. All right, and I think those were the same as the ones we found in Excel. Yeah, it was 4225, 4225, and 2539. Now we have to use fuzzy match. So we want to go to data tab and then find append. Within the field name, we want all caps. We want to type in type. And we have to select virtual character length. We want 20 parameter. So we want to put in quotations, supplier. And then close off the quotations. And then I'm gonna hit OK. Now we want to go to user listing. And we want to do the same thing. So we go to append. The field name is again type. And then we want virtual character. Length is also 20. The parameter changes we want employees instead of, I forgot what we used. Employees. Was it employee or employees? It was employee. Okay, we hit OK. And so next, we want to go to analysis. And in the relate section, we want to go to append. All right, now we want to use the supplier listing. So we double click on that. One of these. Oh. Okay, so I got it to work. I think the issue was I had the supplier listing table opened, and once I had the supplier listing table opened, and once I went to append and tried to append it to the supplier listing, so it wasn't letting me. And so I just went to the user listing and then went to the append steps, and it was able to give me the results we wanted. So since we are in VMware, we can go to WT and hit fuzzy. Okay. So we have to go to key. We have to find combo. Okay, so I jumped ahead. So what we actually want to do is, with the append databases table selected, we want to go to append. So all right, so I was actually on the analysis tab hitting append, but we have to be on the data tab. And so we go to append, and this is where we put in the combo address. And we want to select a virtual character for the field type. And for the length, we want to use 100. For a parameter, we're gonna want to select this equation editor button. Now, we want to scroll down to supplier physical street address. Supplier physical street address. So we just double click on this, plus user physical street address. Street address. So we double clicked on that. Now I think that's it. So we can hit this validate and exit button. And I think we're good to go. And so let's see. So we now have the combo address column added to our database. So now we want to go back to analysis and then go to duplicate key, hitting fuzzy. We hit this key double click on combo address, and then we can go ahead and select OK and OK. And these are our fuzzy matches for the supplier and user listing. All right, so question 3 was how many PO box addresses appear. And I think within IDEA and Excel, I think it was just 3 for both. And then would you follow up on PO box addresses? I probably would, just to be on the safe side. I mean, the worst I could say is, why are you asking about these? And then it would probably warrant some more investigation or looking into. How many fuzzy matches appeared within the Excel fuzzy matches? We had 3, and in IDEA we had about 10. Which of the matches are suspicious? Which of the matches aren't normal? What are there any limitations the way you just evaluated the addresses? What other data values would you indicate that there might be fictitious suppliers in a system? So going back to this, sorry. So I think all of these are, or at least should warrant some investigation, just because the supplier and the user listing both have pretty similar attributes to them. And so, I mean, since it's not that many addresses, I think it'd be okay to just be suspicious about all of them, because it wouldn't take too much time. I mean, if you're asking about one of these or 2 of these, you might as well just ask about the majority of these at least. And are there any limitations? In Excel, I think it's a little better just because I think Excel has the advantage of using that fuzzy, like it shows you how similar they are to each other. So I think this is pretty useful. These might be more suspicious rather than the IDEA where it just showed you, basically just displayed the information side by side and then had you look into it, where an auditor could easily overlook something and then yeah, and then that would cause some problems later on. Whether data values would indicate that there may be fictitious suppliers in the system. Maybe transaction amounts, or see, these are suppliers and users. Yeah, I mean, if they're suppliers, and we probably have invoices for them. So maybe looking into that, and see here we have invoices table as well, or listing. So I think a lot of this information would probably help us find fictitious suppliers. But yeah, that is lab 6-1.